Today we're going to be talking about perimeter. Perimeter is the sum of the sides of a shape. Other people like to think of it as the distance around a shape. And others like to say it's the outside of a shape. So whichever the three versions you like, let's go ahead and get started with perimeter. If we look at problem number one has a shape where all of the sides are given to us. So the perimeter really should be pretty easy. We're just going to add all of the sides. So 4 plus 5, which is 9, plus 3 more, which is 12, plus 3, which is 15, plus 5 more. So we have a grand total of our perimeter being 20. We just added the outside sides of that shape. Now, picture number 2 looks pretty basic. There's just one little catch that we have to pay attention to. If we notice this side over here has a 7 and it's got one tick mark, over here we have one tick mark as well, so that means that those are congruent segments. So now we know that the side over here is a length of 7. So now when we go ahead and we calculate that perimeter, we add the 7 plus the 3, which gives us 10, 7 more, which is 17, and then the 8 more, which is going to give us a grand total of 25 for our perimeter. So again, just the sum of the sides, the distance around the shape. If we look at picture number 3, there are a couple sides that are missing measurements. So what we're going to have to do first is we're going to pay attention to the horizontal pieces. If we notice, this whole entire horizontal piece is 15, which means that this whole entire horizontal piece has to be 15 as well. But it's broken into two parts. We have this part here and this part there. So if those two green parts have to total 15 and we already have 12 accounted for, that means that this leftover piece is going to be a distance of 3. So now we're going to use that same train of thought with our vertical pieces. This whole entire vertical piece is 10, so that means over here we should have a vertical piece which is 10, but again notice it's broken into two parts. We have this part which is missing, and then we have this part which is 6. So again, if it has to total 10 and we already have 6 accounted for, we now know that that missing piece is going to be a 4. So now all of the sides are accounted for, so we can go ahead and calculate our perimeter. So we have 10 and 15, which is 25, plus 6 more, which is 31, plus 12 more, which is going to be 43, plus 4, which is going to be 47, plus 3 more, which is going to give us a grand total of 50. So the big thing with perimeter is being able to find and calculate those missing pieces. So if we look at picture number 4, this one seems a little bit easier because we have our congruent marks. That has one congruent tick mark, that has one congruent tick mark, so we know that both of those are going to be a length of 5. And then we have our 2 congruent tick mark. If that's a 7 over here, then we know that that piece over here is also going to be 7. Now, is there anything else that's missing? Right here, this horizontal piece is missing. Okay, it's a piece. If we notice, this whole entire shape has a horizontal piece of 10, but this horizontal piece and this horizontal piece and this horizontal piece have to total that 10. So since we already have 3 and 3, that gives us 6. So that means that we have 4 more left over to total that 10 that we were looking for. So now, since all of the pieces are accounted for, we can go ahead and add the sides. So 7 plus 10 is 17, plus 7 more is 24. That gives us 27, 32, 36, 41, and a grand total of 44. So problem number 4 had the yellow congruent marks, the blue congruent marks, and then that purple horizontal component that we have to watch out for. Let's see what problem number 5 has in store for us. We have a right triangle, but one of the sides is missing. So the first question is, how are we going to find that missing side? Because this is a right triangle, we get to use Pythagorean theorem. Remember, Pythagorean theorem is a squared plus b squared equals c squared, where a and b are the legs and c is the hypotenuse. So over here, this is a leg and this is our hypotenuse. So we should be set to put those numbers in and do our calculations. So 6 squared plus b squared equals 10 squared. That's 36, and that's 100. If we subtract our 36, that gives us 64. So if we square root, we get that the missing piece is 8. Now, some of you are going to be so excited to get that piece, you're going to be set and you're going to think you are finished with the problem. However, the issue is that this wants us to find the perimeter. All we did with Pythagorean theorem was we found a missing piece. We still have to go through and add the sides of our shape to officially calculate the perimeter. So 10 plus 6 plus 8 is a grand total of 24. So don't fall into that trick. Make sure you always answer the official question, not just a piece of it. Next, if we look at picture number 6, everything is provided for us, so it seems like it should be the easiest problem, but again, there is one little thing I want to caution you about. Perimeter is adding the sides of the polygon, the outside, the 8, the 6, the 7, and the 4. Do not include the 9. The 9 is not part of the side. It is not part of the perimeter, so I just wanted to warn you about that. So if we add the outsides, 8 and 4 is 12, plus 7 is 19, plus 6 more gives us a perimeter of 25. Now, problem number 7, we don't have a picture, so we have the opportunity to draw one if we need it, or we can see if we can do this on our own. Let's see, we have a regular octagon. Now, again, remember an octagon means we have 8 sides. And the fact that it says it's regular, we know all 8 sides are congruent to each other. Now, since all 8 sides have a length of 10 centimeters, the perimeter would just be 8 times 10, which will give us the 80 centimeters. Again, if it helps you to see a sketch of your octagon, okay, and if you put a 10 there, and a 10 there, and a 10 all around, you'll see that there are 8 sides, and they each have a length of 10 centimeters, so of course our perimeter totals 80 centimeters. The last problem, let's go ahead and draw a rectangle. And it says that we have 2 sides. One side is 3, so we'll go ahead and put the 3 there. And again, in a rectangle, opposite sides are congruent. And it also says that we have a 6. Again, opposite sides are congruent. And that was basically the trickiest part of the problem, was just getting a picture drawn. So now the perimeter is just adding up the sides. 3 plus 6 is 9, and then we have another 9, so that's going to give us a grand total of 18 inches. So, aside for just a couple tricks that you have to be on the lookout for, perimeter really should be easy. Just remember to add the sides of your shape. Good luck.